Recent reports indicate that Russian forces have made significant progress in Chasovyi Yar. This town, strategically located near the contested city of Bakhmut, has been a focal point due to its logistical significance. Historically, control over Chasovyi Yar has provided strategic advantages, offering access to routes that could facilitate further incursions into heavily fortified Ukrainian positions. The advancement in this area suggests a continuation of Russia's efforts to encircle and pressure key Ukrainian strongholds. Progress in Tsukuryno. Additionally, Russian troops have made headway in Tsukuryno. This location, less known than Chasovyi Yar, plays a pivotal role in the regional connectivity of supply lines. In past confrontations, Russian forces have used similar routes to establish supply chains, supporting sustained military operations while attempting to cut off Ukrainian reinforcements. The advancement in Tsukuryno might aim to disrupt Ukrainian defenses by severing logistical connections or forcing Ukraine to divert resources to new defensive fronts. Russian forces have reportedly captured most, if not all, of Maksymilyanivka, advancing in the Kurakhove direction. After initial reports suggested a Russian bridgehead on the river's southern bank, new information indicates Russian troops are progressing westward through the residential areas. This suggests the earlier bridgehead claim might have been inaccurate, aligning with tactics used in battles like those of Marinka and Kurakhove. While the Russian Ministry of Defense and other sources claim control over Maksymilyanivka, visual confirmation is pending. The town's capture could pave the way for Russian assaults on the well-fortified eastern outskirts of Kurakhove, a strategic Ukrainian city. Nonetheless, sustaining troop concentrations in Maksymilyanivka may require Russian forces to secure tactical heights by clearing tree lines south of the town, depending on local Ukrainian defenses. The New York Times reports that Russia's advances in the Kursk region could undermine Kiev's leverage in negotiations with Moscow. Russian forces have been reclaiming areas initially captured by Ukrainian forces, which Kiev considered strategic for pressuring Moscow. Recently, Russia intensified its efforts to push Ukrainian troops out of the western Kursk region using armored assaults. The situation in Kursk is challenging, with Ukrainian forces struggling to hold ground, according to Deep State, a source linked to the Ukrainian military. Finnish military analyst Emil Kastahelmi noted that some Russian units have advanced deep enough to cause significant issues for Ukraine. The offensive aims to force Russia to redeploy troops to Kursk, relieving pressure on Ukrainian forces elsewhere, and to capture territory to nudge Moscow towards peace talks. However, the first goal hasn't been achieved as Moscow ramps up attacks in eastern Ukraine, leaving Kiev focusing on the second goal. Each Russian advance in Kursk decreases the strategic value of Ukraine's control in the area. North Korea deploying soldiers to support Russia in Ukraine. South Korean spy agency confirms. South Korea's National Intelligence Service, NIS, has confirmed that North Korea is dispatching 12,000 soldiers to support Russia in the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. This development follows a South Korean emergency security meeting amid mounting speculation of North Korean military involvement. The NIS reported that North Korean special forces began deployment between October 8th and 13th, with approximately 1,500 soldiers initially transported via Russian Navy ships from cities like Chongjin and Hamhung to Vladivostok. These troops have been integrated into Russian units across the Far East and provided with Russian military uniforms, weapons, and fake identifications to disguise their identity. The deployment marks a significant shift in military cooperation between Moscow and Pyongyang, complementing their existing arms trade and a mutual defense treaty signed in June. Ukrainian intelligence has also reported North Korean soldiers in occupied Ukrainian territories, suggesting Russia is supplementing its forces after heavy losses. NATO and the European Union are monitoring these developments, with the EU ready to impose additional sanctions pending further confirmation. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte emphasized the need for additional evidence, but acknowledged North Korea's role in supporting Russian aggression. South Korea, in coordination with its allies, will continue to monitor the situation and take necessary measures. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky announced that a U.S. delegation is expected to visit Ukraine soon with responses to Ukraine's victory plan. During an interview with Ukrainian TV channels, Zelensky emphasized that the U.S. will also provide several assistance packages to Ukraine in the near future. He recalled presenting the victory plan to the U.S., receiving an immediate response. A Ukrainian team, including Chief of General Staff Barjalevich and Deputy Prime Minister Stefanishina, traveled to the U.S. to discuss NATO-related matters and strengthening Ukraine's military. Zelensky mentioned waiting for the White House delegation's visit to Ukraine with further answers. Additionally, he recently spoke with U.S. President Joe Biden about receiving a $500 million aid package, part of ongoing support to bolster Ukraine's army every 2 to 3 weeks.